Mantour Ministries presents the Mantour Guy Podcast. We may talk about football. We could mention bacon. We might reference Rocky movies. We'll probably discuss the Mantour conferences, but we'll definitely talk about how to grow in our walk with God. Here's your host, the Mantour Guy, Jamie Holden.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Mantour Guy Podcast. Jamie Holden here, and I am so glad to be back with you again this week. Well, in this week's podcast, we're going to be looking at a question I get asked quite often as I go to churches ministering. Many times I've been asked, how do we develop and grow our men's ministry? And I get this question asked more than any other as I go around with the Mantours and speaking at churches. You know, so many pastors and men in local churches want to have a healthy, thriving men's ministry in their church. You know, they want to mentor and disciple men, but they just don't know where to start. So today we're going to discuss ways to help you develop a healthy, thriving men's ministry. So here are some starting questions for you. What method or what curriculum will work best for your men's group? You're going to use like books, videos, you're going to lead a weekly Bible study. What conferences, retreats, and outreaches can you attend to build camaraderie with your men? How can your men's group serve your church and your community? How can you reach younger men and bring them into your men's group? And how can you help support missions? So as you consider these questions, we want to lay out the 4 paths to a healthy men's ministry for you. Okay, this path we're going to base them on a baseball field. Kind of picture in your mind a baseball diamond. And, you know, the baseball diamond has 4 bases. It's first base, second base, third base, and home plate. And this is the analogy I want you to have in mind as I share today's podcast with you. We're going to look at each area and give practical tips for implementation. You know, you can start and maintain a thriving men's ministry that has men hitting home runs for God's kingdom in no time whatsoever. Okay, so the 4 key parts to a healthy men's ministry are relationships, discipleship, accountability, and service. Each of these areas is an important part of keeping your men's ministry healthy and thriving. And that's what you want. Your men's ministry to be always healthy and thriving and fresh and growing. You know, no man is going to be open and honest with the group if they don't feel comfortable, so relationship building is the number 1 priority of developing a men's ministry. However, having relationships isn't enough. You need to see your men grow spiritually, so discipleship is needed. In order to achieve this, you need to identify and implement the best method or curriculum for your men. You need to have consistent weekly teaching. Accountability is a key part of your men's group. Men need to be holding each other accountable and helping each other overcome weaknesses. Guys, this is so vital. However, it can't stop there. You can't always take in and never give out, or you're going to become a group of bloated, useless Christians. You need to take what you learn and help other people with it. So service needs to be the 4th tier, the home base of your men's ministry. Okay, so that's kind of the format we're going here. Now let's look at each base individually. We're going to start at first base, which is building relationships. That's getting to first base. One of the biggest errors men's ministry make is diving too fast into deep personal conversations without first developing relationships. I remember once I went to a men's group on their launch night, the very first night they were meeting. And on night 1 in the group where most of the guys hadn't known each other for more than like 10 or 15 minutes, the leader opened up by saying each man should say what their biggest sin struggle is in their life. I mean, wow, what a way to start. I knew immediately what would happen next, and I was right. None of the guys participated. Guys, no man is going to open up and spill their guts to a bunch of total strangers. I know I sure wouldn't do that. But often this is what we ask men to do in our men's ministry. And that's why relationships are key to a healthy men's ministry. We need to be intentional about developing these relationships and friendships with the men in the group. So how do we do it? Well, you need to begin by having some fun activities together. You know, some ideas would be maybe having a Super Bowl party, maybe doing a fantasy football league. I've seen that work so successfully in men's groups, doing a fantasy football league together. You could do like a weekend hike, maybe a day at a shooting range, maybe do a chili cook-off. The list could go on and on of ideas of ways you guys could get together to build a relationship. But basically, you want to gauge your guys and see what they enjoy doing, and then do it together. I mean, it's really simple. What do you guys like to do? And then do it together. Another great way to develop relationships is to go to a men's conference or a men's retreat together. I mean, of course, we encourage you to plan to attend your local Mantour conferences when we have them in the spring, and then, of course, go to the Pendle District Honor Bound Conference in the fall. These events are full of great spiritual teaching, but they also allow for the guys to get together away from the church setting and away from everything else, to get away, to get together and develop relationships as they ride in a van or sit around a table for a meal afterwards. Relationships are a starting point of a thriving men's ministry. Guys need to feel comfortable together before they'll go into deep conversations or deep, meaningful things with each other. So first base, getting down the first base line, touching first base is always building relationships. All right, so as you round first base and you head to second base, what is that? Well, second base is discipleship. And you're probably wondering, well, why is discipleship the first base? I mean, isn't that what men's ministry is all about? And yeah, I mean, discipleship is key. It's important. But like we mentioned earlier, discipleship's not going to happen without relationships being developed among the men. However, once the men get comfortable together, they're going to begin opening up to each other about their lives. Okay, so how do you start? Well, first you need to choose the best discipleship teaching tool for your men to use. There are 3 different ways I have found that work best. The first one is to do a Bible study together. In my opinion, this is the best option, is to have a Bible study together where the men read and discuss the Word of God and make it part of their daily lives. However, it requires the group needs to have some mature men to lead the study and the discussions. But I think that's a great option, a great way to work together. Another way is to do books for men. There's so many great books and studies available for men, and they have workbooks or study questions included in them. I mean, of course, I'm partial to Mantour Ministries books. We always include a workbook and study questions in the back of the book. We reproduce our resources because we believe it is important to have Bible-based books and resources written from a Pentecostal perspective. And there are not that many books written for men from this Pentecostal spirit-filled perspective. So we believe that we're filling a need. So that's why we always make these books available to the men. And we've had so much success from men's groups using our curriculums in their small groups. And then the third option is a video curriculum. And there are many video curriculums available to men today. I mean, I've had experience with the Men's Fraternity Quest for Authentic Manhood. It's a curriculum that has 20 to 30 minute video lessons, and then they have an accompanying workbook. After the video lesson is over, you break into smaller groups and discuss the questions and info from the workbook together. The one downside I've seen when men's groups do nothing but videos is that when you're doing nothing else, no other kind of curriculum over time, is that the men do stop coming. And I know a men's group that had over 50 men coming regularly, but then the leader stopped doing different Bible studies, having guest speakers, and they basically did a video curriculum week after week, and slowly the men stopped coming. I mean, guys will do some video curriculums, but doing it repeatedly, I just seen it over and over. Men stop coming because they can watch TV at home. So while videos are good periodically, I personally wouldn't do it all the time, week after week. But you need to choose what works best for your men. One more thought on discipleship before we move on. Make sure to keep younger men in mind when you choose your curriculum. You want to make sure to reach out and include the younger guys in your church. Make sure you don't exclude them. They need to become a part of what you're doing. Well, guys, we've rounded second base and we're headed to third, and we'll discuss third base right after the break.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Like what you're hearing? Head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Thanks.
No matter where you came from, what you've done, or what you struggle with, God can use you. He can restore you. He can put you in the starting lineup and use you to change the world. Let's stop believing the enemy's lies. In Mantour Ministries' book, Get in the Game, you will review the game tapes of biblical examples to learn what plays they made, where they fumbled, and how we can gain a victory. Order your copy today at mantourministries.com. It's time to get off the bench and get in the game.
Order your copy today at mantourministries.com.
Listen to the Mantour Guy podcast on the go via Apple Podcast and Google Play. Thanks.
With the advent of the internet, pornography became affordable, anonymous, and accessible. And with this affordability, anonymity, and accessibility, porn in the minds of many gained a greater acceptability. What we once called hardcore porn, we now call softcore porn. What we once considered softcore, we just now call Game of Thrones. Today, one can easily say that porn has become the norm, and that is even among churchgoers. A recent survey discovered that 64% of Christian men admit that they view pornography at least monthly. That percentage goes up to 77% when considering just millennials, those who are 18 to 30 years old. Among millennials, 36% say they view porn daily. The same survey looked at women, and 13% of Christian women said they had never looked at porn. 33% said that they view porn at least a few times a year, and 15% said they view it at least once a month. To get 250 more pornography statistics, complete with original references and sources, go to covenanteyes.com/pornstats and download the complete report for free.
Sign up for Covenant Eyes using the code Mantour at checkout and receive 1 month of free service. Visit covenanteyes.com today to sign up, and remember, 1 month of free service when you use the code Mantour. That's MANTOUR.
Follow the Mantour Guy on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks.
Hey guys, Mantour Guy Jamie Holden here. Are you looking for a speaker at your church or for your men's breakfast, your next men's event, men's retreat, or men's conference? Well, why not bring me in to speak? God has been moving among men as I've been sharing an encouraging word of freedom and victory. We're seeing lives change, men being saved, people being set free, and guys, chains are being broken. So if your church has hurting men and women, contact me to come share this encouraging word of hope and victory to help you grow in your walk with God.
Yep. You're listening to the Mantour Guy Podcast.
All men want one thing in life, to be remembered. The good news is we all have a legacy. This is the question though, will you leave behind a good legacy or a bad legacy? Learn how to create a godly legacy in Mantour Ministries' book, Legacy, Living a Life That Lasts. By reading the stories of godly men from the Bible, working through the study questions, and taking up the legacy challenges at the end of each chapter, you'll be well on your way to living a life that lasts. It also includes a bonus workbook that you can use with your small groups. Order your copy today at mantourministries.com. How will you be remembered?
Order your copy today at mantourministries.com. Welcome back to the Mantour Guy Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back as we continue our discussion of how to develop a men's ministry in your church. We've looked at the need to build relationships and have relationships, and now we're going to continue on to third base. And what is third base? Well, third base is accountability. The third base of men's ministry is the need for men to begin meeting outside the group, holding each other accountable. This step cannot happen until relationships have been formed and cultivated. And every guy in the group really should have an accountability partner. So if you have a group of 10 guys, you would have 5 sets of accountability partners, 2 guys holding each other accountable. And these 2 guys would get together regularly, and during this time, they could ask each other accountability questions. And some great accountability questions they could ask is, have you had your devotions faithfully? What did God teach you through His Word this last week? Have you exposed your mind to sexually inappropriate things? Did you look at any porn or watch anything you shouldn't have watched? On what sin did you battle with this week? Did God give you victory in an unexpected way? What do you anticipate will be a battle in the coming week? Are you being honest with others in your life? How's your family life? Are you exercising and taking care of your body? And then the great final last question, have you lied to me about any of your answers to the other questions? Guys, these are some great accountability questions to ask, and accountability must be part of a healthy men's ministry so that men can help each other grow in their walk with God. Okay, guys, we've round third base. We're going to be heading for home plate. Men's ministries are where healthy and thriving score when they're actively serving together, and that is home plate. The home run is when there's service. Because, guys, the Christian life isn't just about us and our growth. It's about giving back and serving others. A healthy, vibrant men's ministry needs to have outreaches and a way to serve. God wants His men to be more than just a butt in the pew. He wants us investing our time into each other to help each other grow in our walks with God. And guys, service is a vital element to keeping your men's ministry thriving. There are 3 ways we need to teach men to serve. Number 1 is you need to serve in the church. As men, we need to serve the local church. I've never heard of a church, honestly, that refuses help. There are loads of ways to serve. What do I mean? Do weeds grow at your church? Of course they do. You could serve the church by pulling weeds. Do you know how to fix cars? You can maintain your church's vehicles. Are you handy with the paintbrushes? All churches have rooms in need of some sprucing up. Are you a good handyman? Well, churches have loads of projects that need work done. Is manual labor not your thing? Well, what about working with your church's boys ministry, youth ministry as an adult helper? You could influence the lives of so many young men who are longing for the attention and approval of a godly man. You could offer to be the person who pours the grape juice into cups on Communion Sunday. The ways to serve your church are innumerable if you're willing to do them. Okay, the second way you can serve is in the community. It's important to make sure your men's ministry is outward focused. We need to reach outside the church world and serve the lost. And there are so many fun, creative ways to serve. Is golf your game? Then have a golf fundraiser for a local charity or homeless shelter and invite the community involved. Are you a car guy? Have an auto show and have all the money go to your local fire department. Do you like motorcycles? Organize a ride to raise funds for local school's booster club. Does your group like to do construction or handyman work? Volunteer a weekend to work with a local homeless shelter doing repairs. Next time your town is a community event, volunteer to direct traffic and parking. Guys, the possibilities to serve our community, they are endless. So you need to make sure you find ways as a group to serve the community together. And the third area you need to serve together as a group is in the world. Now, as your men grow together with a heart of service, you should encourage your group to reach outside the church and the community and to reach out to the world by becoming a monthly supporter of a U.S. missionary or a world missionary. Just think about it. If your group has 10 men in it, and these 10 men give $10 a month for 12 months to a missionary, that would be $1,200 given to missions. You could give this all to one missionary or give half to a U.S. missionary and half to a world missionary. We would love to have you support us as a ministry, as I'm an AGUS missionary associate developing in men's ministries in churches who don't have men's ministries. And we're also constantly looking for individuals and churches to help us raise our support budget so we can continue doing what we're going to do and what God calls us to do. But the main point is you need to teach your men to serve by giving to a missionary in need. God aches for a generation of men who are willing to rise up and be a generation of servants. The world has seen quite enough of God's men who think they're too good to get their hands dirty and serve others. He wants men with the heart of Jesus who realize that no job, no task, and no responsibility, nothing is below them. God wants men who lay down their lives with a heart of service to Him.
The Mantour Guy's final thought.
Guys, when your men have strong relationships, are actively being discipled, who hold each other accountable, and are serving others, you have met the goal and have established a thriving, healthy men's ministry. And as we close, I want to mention two more things to keep in mind as you move forward. And number one, this is so important. Don't lose momentum. Let me say that again. Don't lose your momentum. One of the quickest ways to kill your men's ministry is to not have a plan in place for the next study, the next event, the next area you're going to go into. I've seen it too often. Churches get guys involved, and they get active, and you finish your current curriculum or your book or your study or your video, and then when it's done, you flounder for a week or two while you figure out what's next. But during the week or two, the guys, they lose interest, and all your momentum that you built is gone, and you have to kind of start all over from scratch. So make sure you have a game plan in place. Have a 3-month, a 6-month, a 1-year plan, so you know what you have coming up, and you can just go from one thing to the next without losing any of the momentum that you've built together as a group. And then number 2, make sure you include young men. Guys, younger men are our renewable energy resource for men's ministry. We need to focus on including the younger men around us in our men's group. One of the biggest crises in the church today is the trend of young men aging out of youth groups and then leaving the church because they feel they no longer belong. There isn't a place for them. And guys, we need these younger guys in the men's group. We need to be reaching out to the young boys in our church. One of the greatest epidemic facing the church in the world today is fatherless children. Single moms are raising their sons to the best of their ability, yet no matter how hard they work at it, they still leave a void in their sons because they've never been a man. Single moms, they've never been a guy before. And it's not their fault, it's just what it is. And men in the churches need to man up and help out. Guys, we have a generation of boys who long for a man to step up and help them, to teach them what it means to be a man. When the church men don't fill the gap, the boys learn from unsaved men how to live ungodly lives. Guys, we need these young men. We need their passion. We need their vigor. We need their energy. We need them growing in their walk with God and continuing the work God has us doing in our church and our community. We need them to replace us. We need them to grow us spiritually and then push the next generation to do the same. So there you have it, guys. In this podcast, we're giving you a game plan of how to develop and grow a healthy, thriving, sustainable men's ministry. Well, guys, once again, thank you so much for listening as we're out of time here this week. Thanks for giving us your time today to listen. I'd love it if you took a second and shared the podcast, your social media accounts. We'd love to be able to reach even more men and help them grow in their walk with God. Also, if you could just take a minute and go subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, also on Google Play. These 5-star ratings and the reviews you leave, they help more men find us in their searches. And also, always, guys, don't forget to visit Ministries.com to learn everything new that's going on with the ministries, our conferences, our books, and our resources. There's so much great information there. And guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week on the Mantour Guy Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Mantour Guy Podcast. Be sure to visit MantourMinistries.com to learn more about our books, men's ministry resources, and our Mantour conferences.
Hey guys, Jamie Holden here. Did you know that only 10% of churches have a healthy, thriving men's ministry? That's only 1 out of 10 churches. Well, my mission is to see this number become 100%. Join me in my work with HGUS Missions to help develop men's ministry in the local church. Become a monthly financial investor in the work God called me to do by going to MantourMinistries.com/partner and clicking on the Give Online button. Together, we can see God continue to move among men. One more thing before I wrap up this week, guys. You need to head to CovenantEyes.com and sign up today to protect you and your loved ones from the many traps awaiting you on the internet. I am a Covenant Eyes user. I just signed my 69-year-old father up and put Covenant Eyes on his phone and his laptop. I believe in it. It's an amazing tool. It helps you stay pure online. Guys, I encourage you to try it today. If you use the code Mantour, you get 30 free days. That's 30 free days. What do you have to lose? So head to CovenantEyes.com, try it today. Like I said, what do you have to lose, guys?
The Mantour Guy Podcast, helping men grow in their walk with God.